Today, I'll examine managing for sustainability as a strategic approach to business. This means integrating environmental, social, and economic responsibility into every layer of an organization rather than treating sustainability as a separate initiative. The central idea is that responsible business practices are now a core part of effective management. They shape how companies operate, make decisions, respond to changing expectations, and create lasting value. We'll explore the business environments and concepts that make this framework increasingly important. Sustainability is no longer a secondary corporate initiative. It has become a strategic business imperative. Three forces are driving that shift. First, regulatory pressure is increasing, with governments requiring emissions disclosures and setting carbon targets. Second, investors are paying closer attention to ESG performance, which can affect access to capital and company valuations. And third, consumers increasingly favor brands that reflect their environmental and social values. The key point is that organizations are being evaluated not only on financial results, but also on how responsibly they operate. The triple bottom line expands the definition of business success beyond financial results. It asks organizations to consider three interconnected dimensions: planet, people, and profit. Planet focuses on reducing emissions, managing waste, and conserving resources throughout the value chain. People includes fair labor, community investment, diversity, and employee well-being. Profit means maintaining long-term financial viability while honoring ethical responsibilities to stakeholders and future generations. Coined by John Elkington in 1994, this framework remains a foundation for corporate sustainability strategy. Environmental sustainability becomes meaningful when it is translated into day-to-day operations. Four strategies are especially important. First, the renewable energy transition shifts facilities towards solar, wind, and other cleaner sources, helping reduce Scope 1 and 2 emissions. Second, circular economy design builds reuse, repair, and recycling into products from beginning. Resource efficiency then reduces water use, raw materials, and packaging waste. Finally, sustainable supply chains extend accountability beyond the organization by setting environmental standards for suppliers and auditing compliance regularly. Together, these actions address impacts across the full operating and product life cycle. Social responsibility puts the people dimension of sustainability into practice. It asks businesses to look beyond their own facilities and consider how operations affect workers, communities, and society as a whole. Fair wages and safe working conditions must extend throughout the supply chain, not stop at the company's doors. This also includes embedding diversity, equity, and inclusion into hiring and workplace culture, investing in communities through philanthropy, local sourcing and job creation, and conducting human rights due diligence with global sourcing partners. Governance is what turns sustainability from a stated ambition into an accountable business practice. The key is to embed responsibility at every level of decision-making. That starts with board oversight, through directors or committees with clearly defined sustainability responsibilities. Executive incentives should then reinforce those priorities by linking compensation to measurable ESG outcomes. Transparent reporting, using recognized standards such as GRI, SASB, or TCFD, builds credibility. Finally, stakeholder engagement ensures employees, communities, investors, and regulators help shape a strategy that is relevant, trusted, and sustainable over time. Sustainability creates value only when it moves from commitment to execution. It cannot sit in a separate department or function as a compliance exercise. Instead, it needs to shape competitive strategy, guide capital allocation, influence product innovation, and strengthen brand positioning. The key shift is to treat sustainability as a source of competitive advantage, not simply a burden to manage. When companies embed it into how they make decisions and compete, they are better positioned to create meaningful, long-term value. Sustainability is not only an environmental priority, it also presents a compelling business case. 73% of global consumers say they would definitely or probably change their habits to reduce environmental impact, according to Nielsen. That demand can translate into stronger market relevance and customer loyalty. Financially, MSCI Research links high ESG ratings with a 25% lower cost of capital. And over a 12-year period, purpose-driven companies achieve 6 times higher brand value growth than industry peers. Together, these figures show how sustainability can influence consumers, financing, and long-term brand performance. Credible sustainability management depends on measuring performance consistently and reporting it in a way stakeholders can understand and compare. 3 major frameworks support this work. The Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI, is the most widely adopted standard for ESG disclosure. TCFD, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, focuses specifically on identifying and communicating climate-related risks. SASB, the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, provides industry-specific metrics designed to help investors evaluate sustainability performance. Together, these frameworks bring structure, transparency, and greater credibility to sustainability reporting. As sustainability becomes mainstream, the risk of greenwashing grows alongside it. Credible sustainability depends on evidence, transparency, and accountability. Vague language, such as eco-friendly, means little without measurable data and can invite regulatory scrutiny. Another common pitfall is cherry picking, where one favorable statistic is highlighted while weaker performance remains hidden. Finally, targets need more than a public announcement. Clear timelines, independent verification, and ownership at the board level help demonstrate that sustainability commitments are backed by meaningful action, not just polished messaging. The key takeaways are straightforward. Sustainability must be embedded, not bolted on, through strategy, incentives, and daily operations. Measure meaningful progress using frameworks like GRI, TCFD, and SASB. And ultimately, create shared value by aligning business success with positive outcomes for people and the planet.